Okay, so this will be the first in a series of presentations about how to edit your writing, your essays, or your paragraphs. So why do we edit? Of course, we edit to try to make our writing more correct and more accurate. When we edit, we're focusing on the grammar and the spelling and the mechanics. We're not focusing on the meaning, the content, or the organization. Of course, some people do not edit. There are many different reasons why some people don't edit. So some people don't edit because they don't have time in their writing process. They're working very quickly, or they're working close to the deadline, and they simply don't have time to edit. When I ask this question to students, they always say some people don't edit because they're lazy, and that might be possible too. But I think some people also don't edit because they don't know how to edit, or they're afraid that they might make their writing worse instead of better. Well, I have some advice for you because I'm going to actually show you how to edit and give you practice in editing it. So hopefully some of those worries that you have about editing will get better. And finally, some people don't edit because they just don't want to see. They think there's going to be many problems that they don't know how to fix. So they just sort of would rather not pay attention to those problems. So let me teach you some ways that you can edit your writing. So in the first method, this can be done when you're working at home. So the first method is to take a short break in your writing to kind of clear your brain, and then read your paragraph or essay out loud. You can, when you read, you need to make sure that what you are saying matches what is written, what you have written on the page. Many, many times when students come to my office for help with their writing, I ask them to read their writing out loud, and they say things correctly, but they have written them wrong. So reading aloud is a good way to do this. Of course, you can't do this if you're in an in-class situation, but if you're working from home, you can definitely do this. The second method is to read the last sentence first. We call this method back reading, but we're not actually reading backwards. We're just going to the end of the essay and reading the last sentence from beginning to end first. Okay? Then you keep going from the end of the essay or paragraph back to the beginning. And while we do this, we're only checking our grammar, not content. So the reason that this method works, why back reading works, is when we read from the beginning of a piece of writing, we focus on the message. We focus on the communication, the main ideas, whether ideas are connected to each other. We're not focusing on the grammar. But when we read from the last sentence up, then we can focus on seeing each sentence as something that we can fix. It doesn't have any meaning when we read it backwards. We can't analyze the content or the organization. So we just need to analyze the grammar. So that's why that method is very good. For some people, and when you read this, you want to pretend that you are doing textbook exercises. So you just pretend like you're doing something in a grammar book and fixing sentences that you would find in a grammar book. There's a variety of this method, which is that you could use the end to beginning, the back reading, in the middle of your writing process. You could take a break in the middle, like after you've written one point, and go back and just edit that point. So this works for some students, not all of them, but if you think that this might work for you, that you could kind of pause and spend a few minutes in the middle of writing focusing on fixing things, you could try this method. The last method that I'm going to talk about is to choose one grammar point that is difficult. And here, some ones that I've mentioned are verbs, articles, or another problem. You could mark each one and check each one, and then if you have time, choose another grammar point. So this means that you would be able to analyze and focus just on one grammar point. Would you have enough time to check all the verbs in your writing? Maybe, maybe not. If you don't have time to check all of one particular grammar point, you could check 10, and then if you have time, check 10 more. All of those things will still make improvements to your writing. Remember, we don't need your piece of writing to be perfect. especially if you're writing with a time limit like 90 minutes or 2 hours. We don't need it to be perfect. We just need you to constantly improve it and to try to find the ways that you can accomplish that. So again, the summary of the 3 methods are read aloud, back read, or focus on specific points. So take a minute to think about which one of these do you think would work the best for you? Which one fits your style the best? There's different answers for different people, so consider which one might work for you and try it on some of your writing. In the next videos, I'm going to be showing more about the specific points method, and I'm going to show one part about how to correct the nouns and articles or singular plural nouns in your writing, one about how to correct the verbs in your writing, and finally